courage means that you're doing something on purpose that you're afraid of. And I was like, well, if I'm never afraid, then I can't be courageous.
That means I can have hard conversations and hold you accountable. And I think a lot of people think that means judgment. And that's not what that is. Like judgment will actually make that walk a lot harder. It's just being able to say, can you get there? Can you give this to me? And if not, this is what happens. To stay out of judgment, though, that helps us hold on to the humanity piece of it.
I got feedback that said, you're not caring for us because you're not on time for meetings. And I was like, interesting. So I realized that I wanted them to know I cared, but I wasn't demonstrating it. And it was hard for me to be on time. So I had to make a lot of changes.
Welcome to Courage is Built Here, the podcast. I'm Justine Froelker, licensed professional counselor, author, speaker, and corporate trainer. Here, we bring my Courage is Built Here curriculum to life and community. Each week, I invite a guest to walk one of the 5 courageous pathways with me through authentic, sometimes tough, sometimes hilarious conversations. No performance, no polish, just real people practicing real courage with grit, grace, and a whole lot of love. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Today, we have Pathway 3, Be Fully You, how to show up authentically. So this is the work of vulnerability. It's the work of self-compassion. It's the work of showing up in courage with your fear. How do you be you everywhere you are, in every space? Because when you show up as all of who you are, the people that you're with will usually show you who they are. And then we're in it together and just in connection and walking one another through it and home, which is what we were made for. And so this is the work of vulnerability. And so this conversation today is so rich. My friend, Marc Braun, he coaches CEOs. His business is called Encouraging Leaders. I met Marc years and years and years and years ago. And so he's truly one of the most authentic people I know. And we have such a good conversation. And you'll see where I have a couple moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, you are right. Like, I don't think I thought about it in that little way, that part. And same for him. And so like we talk a little bit about boundaries. We talk about how courage is really like, it is feeling the fear and choosing courage anyway. It's not being fearless. And we talk about how levels of vulnerability being in service of not only ourselves, but also other people. It's just a very good conversation. I'm so excited for you to listen in. We would love to know your thoughts. Let's welcome Marc to the podcast. Welcome, Marc, to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Great to be here with you.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. My first question that I ask every guest based off of the pathway that you chose to talk about, when you think about courage, most especially through that lens of what I call pathway 3, be fully you.
Oh
Is
my
there a
goodness.
story or a moment that comes up for you?
So many. One of the things that's cool about this is I wanted it to be authentic and real. So I just wanted to have the question and then think about it and answer. And so, first of all, the amount of courage that it takes for a human to be fully ourselves, to be fully me, is enormous. The part that I think about is the first time I realized that I was afraid. I didn't, I wasn't allowed to have fear growing up. That wasn't acceptable um, feeling or emotion.
Yeah.
And so, it was the thing that I figured out over time is that courage means that you're doing something on purpose that you're afraid of. And I was like, well, if I'm never afraid, then I can't be courageous. And so it was actually about 14 years ago now, our son came back from Iraq struggling with addiction, and he was struggling with life and death decisions. He was struggling with life itself. And I remember going into the rooms of recovery with him and seeing all the people that were able to go out and share themselves fully authentic, like I had never experienced it in my life. And they were just sharing the real hardest hards in front of each other. And I was like, whoa. And so it was my time to share. We were in a family sessions, and I was just like, man, this is actually hard to share the deepest, hardest stuff. And I figured out over time that there was a lot of things that I was afraid of that I never knew that I was
Mhm.
afraid of. And what was cool as I realized it was that I could, as I learned that I was afraid, I could start acting and I could start giving myself credit for being courageous and
Mhm.
watching the other humans in the rooms and him, courageously living life, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so, those areas, I mean, it's now been 14 years that I've experienced the world of recovery and how many courageous humans go in there and
Yeah.
just share. And they share it because it's a life or death decision for them. But what I've come to believe is that it's a life or death decision for all of us. And so,
Yeah.
what a cool thing to do is to live authentically us.
Yeah.
But it takes enormous courage.
Mhm.
We have to admit that we're afraid before we can admit and accept that
Yeah.
we are being courageous to do it. So
Yeah.
I think
That's so
that's a little
true.
story
That's
I'll
I
share.
love that story. Like, we could say that when it comes to recovery from addiction, it is. I mean, I started my career working with clients who struggle with addiction. So, like, it is life or death. And the more I've walked out this work, the more I've taught it, the more I've walked alongside others, it's life or death for all of us, because it's like it's just maybe like when you choose not to be authentic and do the work to show up fully, I think maybe we're choosing a slow, painful death. It's just not like that,
Oh,
like, immediate life or death that we may suffer in addiction, right? Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I think it's the other way to say it is it's we're choosing a tenth of our life or a
Oh,
fifth of
yeah.
our life. Or, I mean, people are thinking that it's like, I'm just losing this
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
but they're losing 10x capabilities. They're losing, and when you can unlock those, I do like thinking of it as life or death for every single human, not
Yeah.
just those that are in some kind of recovery
Mhm.
system or some kind of
Yeah,
addiction. I think it's life or death for all of us to be
yeah,
authentic.
yeah.
And so that's the what that does. It gives me passion and purpose to
Mhm.
go out and help others to break free of that stuff,
Yeah.
because they think they're only 10% limited, but they're actually 10x limited,
Right,
and they don't know it.
right. That's so true.
Yeah.
I you know, we've known each other for years now at this point, and you are one of the most authentic people I've ever met.
Mm,
And
mm.
so, like, even just hearing you, like, I've had to learn, like, to be courageous, you have to be afraid. And so I wonder, like, growing up, so what was the emotion? Like, when you were feeling afraid, what did we call it? What was it? Like,
Mm.
and then, like, a twofold question, like, at what point was it like, "Okay, I have to reclaim fear so that I can live this life of courage?"
Well, I mean, the point whenever I had to do that, I mean, actually, the point before our son came home, um, I was married now for 26 years. December 4th is our anniversary. I thank God for that and a lot of miracles and a lot
Mm,
of people that have helped along the way. But I was only a few years into marriage and I was not going to make it. I knew that there was no way that I was going to make it. And I was having nightmares and I hadn't yet gotten to where I could admit fear. And
mm,
I was like, oh my goodness, what is this thing that's
yeah,
happening? And, um, started to get help and support from men who were living a different life and just watching them admit that they were afraid and still walk out their faith, with
yeah,
assuredness. And that gave me examples of people that were in my life that were actually admitting fear and also still leading well and living
mhm,
well.
mhm,
Um, but growing up, I got to try all kinds of things. My dad would put me in situations that were like very. He believed in me. In my, he had a lot more confidence than competence, I guess.
okay,
And so he would put me in things that were like nobody should be going into at 7 or 8 years old. I would be out there doing things, and he tried to show me a fearless life,
mhm,
which was an interesting path. It does actually create a lot of energy and passion.
mhm,
It's just it runs out of gas. For me, it ran out
yeah,
before the 5th year of marriage. But it's just this. It's the opposite of that. It's like it's not courageous to live a fearless life. It's courageous to have fear and still do
yep,
things.
yep,
And so I had to change that, and I had to change it so that I could make it to 26 years because I didn't want to
right,
miss. I didn't want to miss on
yeah,
that marriage commitment.
yeah. Does the this tension of courage and fear, because I
Hmm.
don't love the word balance. I just did a whole video on balance. So, like, it
Yeah.
it's we live in this tension.
Yeah.
We hold both at the same time.
Mhm.
Does it look How does it look differently for you, leadership-wise, work-wise, with your kids versus with your wife or in, like, the different spaces that you exist in?
Mm. Well, they definitely have come, closer and closer to the same.
Ooh, I love
I
that
I
answer.
I wanna give you a word that I use for that tension. It's, my favorite word is paradox,
Yep,
and the idea that you can be afraid and be courageous at the same
100%.
time is a paradox.
Yep.
And so once I started seeing those, that's where I started seeing them everywhere, and, what when I hear most people's messaging, it's simple. It's like, we need to go right, or we need to go left, or we need to be more caring, or we need to be more clear. And what the beauty for me of life and leadership and growth is, how do you hold both doors of the paradox open? How do you hold both of those open at the same time?
Mm,
And that is living with that tension of the paradox,
yeah,
because paradoxes are by very nature tense. They are frustrating to us because there's no right or wrong answer,
right.
and so you end up having to learn to live in a world that is full of paradox. And so I think that's really, that's the beauty of any spiritual growth path,
Mhm.
any leadership growth path, is when you learn to live in that
Yep,
paradox.
yep.
And then you asked a question about how does it look. I think that some of my strongest spiritual teachers have been my kids as they've grown, and my wife, who sees inside my heart, and she can still see where there are gaps, where there's disconnect between how I live in one space to the other. And so allowing those humans inside and letting them speak into my life and letting them call me out when I'm not living, consistent with the values that I espouse,
Mhm.
is one of the beautiful pieces. But opening all the spaces to that, so
Yeah.
creating safety so that people inside of my leadership, wherever that is,
Mhm.
can speak directly to me and say, the thing you just did was outside of what you are saying that you
Yeah.
want others to do. So just, I think, trying to get every space safe enough to do that
Mhm. Mhm.
is, what I would love to see in the
I
world
know.
and love to create.
I know. It is interesting how I've asked some version of that question to so many people, and I walk it out myself. There's absolutely some spaces that some of us more than others, but, like, have to exist in that living fully ourselves doesn't feel safe or is hard, or we have to pull from different parts, or I always tell people, like, there's some spaces that I have to exist in that I will be more boundaried.
Mhm.
Still me, still authentic. It's just there's boundaries around it because for whatever reason, this space is not the bravest or the safest for me. And so it's like, what's it look like for us to model that for people and teach people I want your be fully you, your authenticity to be aligned and pretty much the same in every space if possible.
Yeah, if possible. Well, I think that, you have done a lot of work, and I've, listened and learned from you on boundary setting. It wasn't an area that I had any skill in,
Mm,
and, so I would be the same, uh, share the same level
mm,
of depth, and the part that I found is it's not actually helpful to
mm.
the other people, even if I, quote, "can take it," even if I can
Oh,
take
yeah.
the lack of safety, it's still not effective or wise. And so I had to find, where and how to be effective in helping share, because, yeah, it is protective of ourselves, but it's also
Yeah,
protective of the other. It's
it's so
actually,
true. Yeah.
they're not able to handle it either. So why
Uh-huh.
why why are we doing it to them? Why are we oversharing?
Yeah.
Um, and so that was my, learning for, just being able to set boundaries more effectively for myself, but for the other person, like, go slower in sharing so that the other person stays safe, because
Yeah.
the reason that I needed to not share was because they actually got triggered by my sharing. And so, I don't know if that makes sense, but,
Yeah.
um,
No, that makes a ton of sense. I think, we often think about it only in the one way that I'm not gonna. I'm gonna boundary myself up a little bit because it's in
My
self-preservation.
best
Like, it's
interest, right?
yeah, it's for me. And in reality, especially depending on different dynamics that we might have in the room, like, is there power dynamics? Is there a whatever it might be, like, we may need to be boundaried in service of others' vulnerability.
Yes, I think restate that because it's so powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
we
that.
might need to be might need to be boundaried for others'
Right.
vulnerabilities, and, and I wanted everybody to be able to
Mhm.
desire
Yes.
deep sharing as I desire
Yeah,
it,
me too.
and, and I found that that was actually unhelpful and unloving and uncaring and ineffective leadership-wise too,
Sure.
and so, that's been really the deep learning is that I can go slower.
Yeah.
I don't need to go all the way. I don't need to share everything. And if that's true, if that's good, and I can be satisfied, okay, at whatever level is appropriate for the other
Yeah.
person and helpful for the other person, I do use the word encouraging, encouraging for the other person,
Mhm.
then I can be much more compassionate to what they need
Right.
and be ready for what they need.
Right. And it most likely, if we are loving them in that way, that in that of service of kind of honoring almost their level of vulnerability that they while still modeling ours at the same time, like, they're like, you might that connection will deepen.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it will deepen and then yeah, they can stay around longer
Yeah.
and then you can learn more from them and
Yeah.
serve them more effectively. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, um, when you decide, I mean, first of all, I do work in the business space.
Mhm.
And so in the last 5 years, I've been coaching CEOs
Yeah.
specifically. And I just have a deep compassion and heart for them because I've served in that role
Mhm.
and they get attacked from a lot of different spaces,
Yeah.
told that they're incompetent, uncaring, and they're like, well, just, I mean, I love Brene, but
Yeah.
somebody says, just be vulnerable. And you're like, what are you talking about? You've never been in their role and you don't know
Yeah.
anything about what they're going through. And so I think the key is that I love serving that group because they are alone a
Mhm.
lot
Yeah.
and they feel that.
They really are.
And so just sitting with them,
Yeah.
sharing
Yeah.
honestly how I show up and listening to how they show up and
Mhm.
walking alongside them without judgment
Right.
and just saying, okay, well, let's do something different. If you're not getting the results that you're wanting out of the leadership that you have, let's figure out what you want to do. And
Yeah.
um, the method that I use, which I really love, is just including their people, their
Mhm.
leaders, letting them start to see them as humans, letting
So
each
good.
person, the team plus the leader of the team, whoever that is, just to be able to see each other
Yeah.
and grow in compassion for each other, and then they can watch and they're like, oh, you're working on stuff, okay, I can work on stuff too, and then it becomes a relationship. It's just
It's so true.
it's beautiful. So
It's so true. There is, so many times when I'm in events, I mean, I would love in a perfect world, I'm in there with the whole team, right? And C-suite's in there, and often though I'm working with managers or people below, and I do remind, like, actually, your leader is they're human.
mm,
They're human,
yeah,
and in so many ways, the person with the most power, it sometimes feels like they can never win. Like, they're too vulnerable, they're too human, they don't have their stuff together, they're not caring for the safety of the company, or they're a robot and they're an asshole, right? Like, and it's like there's a whole lot in between those. And at the end of the
yeah,
day, there is a human being. And what's it look like to hold one another accountable to the humanity part of it and to the work that we need to do, our mission and values, especially.
yeah. Well, you've worked with some of my favorite leaders,
Yeah.
and one of them shared that you share with her. They can be doing their best. I love the idea that they can be doing their best, and it can also not be good enough for us,
Yep.
and that can be okay. But the idea that I don't have to judge them and I
Yes.
can still decide where I want to be in relation to
Correct.
them is a beautiful thing.
Correct.
And
Yep.
so, yeah,
I think that
powerful.
that's what people miss though, like, it's easy for us, okay, like, I can live my I really do believe that's your best, and sometimes it's not good enough for me. That means I can have hard conversations and hold you accountable, and I think a lot of people think that means judgment, and that's not what that is. Like, judgment will actually make that walk a lot harder. It's just being able to say, like, "Can you get there? Can you give this to me? And if not, this is what happens." Um, to stay out of judgment, though, that helps us hold on to the humanity piece of it.
Mm. Yeah. The piece that I think about, I want to remain compassionate to them,
Yeah.
to all. And if I'm too close, and their behavior is impacting me in such a way that I struggle to stay compassionate,
Mm,
I might need to remove myself a little bit so that I can stay true to my compassionate heart. Because
yeah.
that's
Oh, that's so true.
and if I get stronger, if I get better, if I get more compassionate, if I get capable of, I might be able to move more close.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just need space because I'm young and I'm
Yeah.
growing and I'm learning and I might need space. And
Yeah.
so I love whenever teenagers need a little space or whenever, it's
Yeah.
okay. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't need as much space later on,
Mhm.
that would come back.
Right.
Come back.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
The lesson for me of, like, choosing to believe that people are doing their best,
mhm,
even when it's not good enough for me, I still will believe that it's your best. That for me, it helps me that's what helps me hold on to my humanity.
mhm,
I
yeah.
'Cause I and it's hard. I mean, there's some awful things happening in this world. Like, it's not easy. It just I don't I want to like, how come you think that's okay? Like, what's
Mm,
going on for you? Like, what
mm,
happened? Doesn't mean that I don't hold you accountable to that choice that you made or those words that you said or whatever else. And dang, if I don't stay curious with generosity about how you got there, I think and we are seeing it in our world. We've lost our humanity.
yeah, yeah. If we lose compassion for the other humans that
Yes,
are around us, we lose everything. And so that, I don't want to lose that.
I know.
And so I'm going to hold on to it.
Mhm.
I wrote down on Sunday, I wrote down, how do we get 7 billion people more compassionate towards others? And it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, that's the first piece that I think about. Um, it's difficult. And so
Mhm.
acknowledge that. And then, what is my next action that can help?
Yeah.
And I just keep on doing that. And the part that I do like, I wrote it down as well, is I do believe love wins, and so that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Once it's all over, whatever the whole over is, we will not be afraid
Yeah.
anymore. And so I
Yeah.
just that's a cool. I
Yeah.
do like that. I
Yeah.
love knowing that love wins. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, or believing it,
Uh-huh.
whatever words you want to use,
Yep.
and then acting as though it wins.
I know.
Um, but it's a difficult um, space right now. I
Yeah.
don't think we're designed to have quite as much input,
Mm,
and as
for
many
sure.
channels of input.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get us, either to decrease the inputs to the level of competence. you know,
I know.
I change news sources, and now I only read once a week, and
Okay.
it's all delivered, in paper, and so
Yeah.
I can read it,
Oh, I like it.
and that's enough. That frequency is
Right.
enough right now.
Right. Because it's like it is this you have well, it's the paradox. Like, how can I wanna be informed and I wanna be educated
Mhm.
and dang, the consumption part of it is so not well for me. Like, it's just not. And and I feel my humanity slipping through my fingers, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you consume all the opinions, when you all of those pieces, like, and at the same time, it's like, well, I also want people to be who they are, and so it's just like, I don't think we were not meant to live like this.
We were not meant to live at the
Huh.
frequency that we are living right
Right,
now. Yeah, the
right,
frequency. Yeah. So
right.
daily is a fast frequency for our brains. And
Yep,
so consume once a day, that would be enough.
right, right.
Um,
So true.
and I really do need those negative input sources to be less than once a day because they're just
Yeah.
too aggressive.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So
Well,
yeah.
and it's also like, I don't being like, living into courage, living this work, being all of who you are, flaws and all, it's already quite loud enough up here.
Mm, mm,
I don't necessarily need all the other stuff too.
yeah. Yeah. Another paradox. Yeah. I mean, to be strong, you need to really accept your weaknesses.
Mhm.
You don't need to be shoved. They don't need to be shoved at you all the time,
Yeah.
so, but you do need to accept them.
Yep.
And but you don't need to just be like lambasted by it all the
Right.
time. That's not it.
No,
Right.
not even a
Yeah.
little bit. I love it.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Are you ready for your last 2 questions?
Would love them.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first one that everybody
Okay.
gets. When did courage look different than you expected,
Mm,
and what did it teach you?
mm. When did courage? Mm. Well, I have to brag on my 23-year-old
Oh, I love it.
son,
Okay.
Noah. Um, he just got engaged to a young man who he's been dating for 4 or 5 years, and
That's so exciting.
he planned the whole event and got a photographer to be there, and
Okay.
just witnessing him love another human well
Yeah.
and step out into the unknown without a guarantee
Yep.
and say, "Hey, would you spend the
Yeah.
time with me?" Especially while all this other stuff is going on.
Yeah.
Um, One of the most courageous. I just am in awe. I started just taking notes. I'm like, how do I do that kind of thing?
Oh, I love it.
What did it teach me? I just have a lot of hope for the youth.
Mhm.
I think they are growing um, in ways that we didn't even know that we needed to grow,
Yeah.
and they're overcoming obstacles that we didn't even have awareness of.
Yeah.
And I don't see it. I mean, I this last Thanksgiving we had all the cousins together, and I'm watching it, every one of them. Their ages 19, 20, 23,
Okay.
25, 26, and I'm just watching them all. The emotional intelligence that they
Yeah.
have to be courageous, and all of those things, just
Yep.
unbelievable courage.
Oh, I love it.
Um, yeah,
Oh, that's
that's
so
one
good.
of them.
That's so
Yeah.
good. I love it. All right, your surprise question.
Mhm.
What's something true about you that took a long time to accept?
Mm. Well, it wouldn't be hard to admit the ADHD part. Um, that's too easy, right? Mm, one of the things that I find people don't see it. I struggle with getting to meetings on time,
Mm,
and I have to put all kinds of systems in place. And um, the part that I think is interesting is, like, when we started this business of coaching business 5 years ago, my
mhm,
number one target was not building revenue or other things. It was to be at every meeting on time and prepared. And every night at dinner, I would tell my wife, Melanie, and my son, Gabriel, who is still here, this is my target, and I made it today. And so just admitting that
uh-huh.
that's hard for me,
Yeah,
and that it's hard enough that I will set a major target business wise to make it. And I think that, you know, that took me a long time.
yeah.
But once I acknowledged it, I got feedback that said, you're not caring for us because you're not on time for meetings. And I was like, interesting. And and
Oh,
so I realized that I wanted them to know I cared,
right.
but I wasn't demonstrating it. And it
Yeah,
was hard for me to be on time. So I had to make a lot of
yeah.
changes.
Uh-huh.
And that's an example.
That's really good. 'Cause I can imagine that would have been hard feedback for you to get because you care deeply for people.
I care deeply for people, but it was hurting them, and I didn't realize how
Yeah.
bad it was hurting them. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
how do I
Yeah,
fix it? And then, like, the number of things I had to do to fix it
yeah.
in my brain was a lot of technologies and
Yeah.
support systems and
Uh-huh.
people. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
get it.
wow. And, daily interaction of admitting when I fail and
Yeah.
addressing it. I was about 2 months in and I hadn't had any misses, and I was like green, 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 and then I had a red, I missed, and so I had to tell everybody, on the
It's
team.
for
I
the
said, "Hey,
accountability.
listen, I've" yeah, exactly. But that's the kind of thing like, wow, am I willing to do that to
Yeah.
demonstrate I care? Yes, I am.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Is it hard? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? 100%.
For sure. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. Oh, I love it. This is so rich. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for who you are, Justine. Thank you for encouraging leaders around our city and around the world. Really, really appreciate who
Thank
you
you.
are.
Thank you.
Hi.
Where can my community connect with you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, you can always find me at encouragingleaders.com.
Yep.
Encouraging leaders, one word or combined word, or on LinkedIn, Mark D.
Okay.
Braun,
Okay.
and would be happy to connect. Would love to
Awesome.
talk.
We'll link
Take
it all in
care.
the show notes. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Justine.
Thank you for listening to the Courage is Built Here podcast. Whether you're brand new to this work or living it out loud every day, I hope today was helpful, hopeful, and a reminder that you're not alone. What one bit of courage will you take from this episode, and how will you walk it out? If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend, leave us a review, and please make sure you like and subscribe. New episodes come out every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform and Fridays on YouTube. For more resources, head to JustineFroelker.com and click to my store. Because courage isn't a one-time thing, it's built right here, one small choice at a time, and especially between us.